Good afternoon. Welcome to another wonderful episode of No Buts About It. I'm in my dining room in Indiana, rocking the wonderful Parker McCollum hat from the Morgan Wallen concert that Chus and I went to in the beautiful, I can't believe I just said that, city of Pittsburgh,
Yeah,
where
very
Chus is located right now in his basement. Pittsburgh was an interesting place when we went, though. That was
yeah.
a good experience.
I will say, that video. A lot of people. I'm sure that people have seen it by now, but that porta potty video of those three girls fighting at Morgan Wallen was in fact in Pittsburgh. Though it was not the night that me and Josh went. It was actually the second night on Thursday. Me and Josh went Wednesday night, which was night one. And yeah, but that did happen in Pittsburgh. We also had our fair share of run-ins with some very interesting human beings that were absolutely, I don't even know the word. I mean, you could say sloshed, you could say just hammered, you could just...
It had nothing to do with like Morgan. A lot of people on that video were saying like, this is Morgan Wallen's fan base. I don't even feel like that was Morgan Wallen's fan base. I just think that was college people being college people.
Yeah, I mean, that could have literally happened at any other concert.
There were a lot of really cool people there too from Pittsburgh. So not everyone was bad, but let's get into what we've got going here first. Before we get too deep into the show, I do want to just make it known, former NFL quarterback Alex Smith, who was best known playing for the Washington Redskins and the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, he had a life-threatening injury in his career when he had a leg injury, and then they had surgery complications, and he almost died from it. Well, now it has become public information that his daughter, who is 7 years old, her name is Sloane, was diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2022, and the family is living scan to scan. I don't know if it's brain cancer or if it's just a tumor. I'm not a doctor. I don't know the difference there. Maybe they're one and the same. But anyway, she's been going under some emergency surgery to remove the tumor. And so this is just one more thing that the Smith family has to deal with. And I'm sure there's other people out there dealing with the same thing, and they're just not as famous, so it's not as well known. Our prayers go out to them as well. But more specifically, our prayers go out to the Smith family and specifically Sloane Smith. So just wanted to put that out there. I don't know if you had anything to say on that, Chus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, a lot of us are very fortunate in our lives to have, be blessed with so many great things that happen. And it is great that, Alex Smith got to play in the NFL and he survived and stuff like that. But, I feel bad for the Smith family. A lot of things have been hitting them one thing after another, but all we can do is just pray and hope that she's okay. I honestly think she'll rally. I mean, that Smith family is strong as heck, as we've seen with Alex Smith. So I'm sure that, she'll rally through, but just keep her in your prayers. And let's just hope for the best. It's a sad, sore subject. And I feel really unbelievably bad because that's not something you want to hear.
Right. And for a 7-year-old, and they said they're living scan to scan. So
which isn't,
I can't even imagine that, but
yeah. So definitely keep them in your prayers. We're thinking about you, Smith family, so it's just sad stuff.
If any updates come out about that, we'll cover that as well, but wanted to get that out there so that we can move on to the happier things going on in the NFL.
Yeah, where me and Josh can actually, maybe yell at each other about some stuff.
We're going to start with your boy, your man.
Yeah.
He is your lock screen.
He is
on your phone.
Actually, it's a picture of me and him on my lock screen. You guys can't see it.
I can't even see it, but I've seen it in person. Kenny Pickett was named captain for the first time in his NFL career. Now, this is not a shock at all because he is now the official starter. He's not competing with Mitchell Trubisky for the starting position. But what do you think of this? Do you think he's earned the spot, or if it's just he's not as bad as everyone else in the quarterback room?
Well, I think that he definitely deserved it. I definitely think he earned it. I mean, I think over the last year, I think he has shown significant improvement. I think he was the only quarterback in the preseason to have a perfect passer rating. He had really good stats, throughout the preseason. I get, yes, it's preseason, season is very different than preseason and whatnot, but it kind of shows how much he's developed because, go figure, his last year preseason statistics weren't as good as this year's preseason statistics. And I feel like throughout the last season, when he kind of was thrown in that Jets game, like early on in the season, he progressively showed improvement. I mean, obviously there was games like the Miami Dolphins game where, we kind of lost the clutch up, he kind of panicked. He, definitely Mike Tomlin said, I think that was the game where Mike Tomlin said there will be better days. I think that was the big video that was going around. Like, don't worry, Kenny, there'll be better days. He didn't do that good against Miami. Obviously, we kind of got shut down by Buffalo and some other teams. But towards that end of the season, we were actually, looking pretty good. And I think Kenny was looking pretty solid too, between the defense and Kenny. And even just going into this year, he's improved a lot. I definitely think he deserves it. I'm not saying Mitch is bad. Definitely not the best quarterback to start. But I mean, out of the three quarterbacks, obviously he was going to get the captain position regardless because he is better than the other two. And obviously, I didn't think Mitch was going to have it this year. I mean, obviously, it would be very weird to have the backup quarterback be the captain, but
right.
So
I think it's even weirder to think, because at first when they announced like Kenny Pickett as the captain, I was like, no, duh. Like, he's the starting quarterback, but he wasn't the captain last year. Mitch was the captain at the quarterback position, I believe. And a lot of times you have guys they're coming in and they become immediate starters. Like Anthony Richardson, he's already been named a captain. CJ Stroud was just named a captain. Joe Burrow was a captain for the Bengals his rookie year. So Kenny Pickett is one of those kind of rare occasions where this is his first year as a captain in his second year. I think that's probably more uncommon. And I wonder if there was any kind of conflict last year with the locker room when Kenny Pickett became the starter, but Mitch still had that captain patch.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, obviously, I think what ended up happening was obviously the Steelers were super invested on Mitch, and I remember reading an article that Mike Tomlin said that Kenny Pickett will not play this season, meaning the 2022 season. Well, that didn't last very long. Obviously, Mitchell Trubisky kind of blew a couple of very, very big games for us early on in the season. Obviously, we did beat the Bengals, but we struggled against. I don't give Mitch the credit on that one though. That was a very defensive game.
That was Joe Burrow losing the game.
Yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with Mitchell Trubisky, but I definitely think that with how Mitch played, like against the Patriots, all we needed was a field goal to get in field goal range. He folded. We lost 16-14. We got kind of crushed by the Cleveland Browns. And then, obviously he didn't have a good start against the Jets. And then even going into some other games, like, yes, he clutched up and like kind of finished off the Tampa Bay game for us, which was great. I mean, he was able to handle the Carolina Panthers game and stuff like that. But then you go up against Baltimore and he threw like 2 interceptions, like in the end zone or like right near the end zone as he was driving. It's like, very inconsistent and a lot of frustration on the Steelers side of the football. But I think they had a lot in place for Mitch, and I think that's why he was the captain. I figured over time that Kenny would end up getting the captain spot, but I think they were just kind of just winging it to see how Mitch would do. But then when Mitch like really was stinking and the Steelers fans were getting like very angry, I think they kind of just like were like, screw it, he has to go in now. So he just happened to go in week 4, which was insane. Don't get me, like, literally, like when he went in week 4, like I lost my mind. I thought the earliest he would start would be after the bye going into that Saints game, I think it was, but like I was stunned when he went in week 4. Now, did it cause conflict back in the locker room? But I don't really know. I'm not back there, but obviously it might have. But all I know now is that Kenneth Pickett is the captain and he is the starter. I'm very proud of him. I'm very happy. But I think Mitchell Trubisky has kind of accepted that backup role. He's kind of happy to be here and he's kind of happy to help develop Kenny now. I know he's said some things in the past, but in more recent interviews, he seems pretty pleased, and we'll see what happens going into the next couple of weeks. And going into next year, we'll see if Mitch even sticks around next year. We might get somebody else. We might keep Rudolph. We might keep Mitch, get rid of Rudolph. I mean, our quarterback depth, the three quarterbacks are pretty solid, I would say, especially for the two backups. Like, they're not great quarterbacks, but they're decent. I would rather have some, average backup quarterbacks than like a bum.
Yes, I do know, because the Bengals' best backup quarterback is now Will Grier.
Yeah,
who we signed
Grier.
after the Cowboys cut him after the Trey Lance trade. So we cut Trevor Siemian, who looked like he didn't want to play football, and we got Will Grier and I forget the other guys. Jake Browning. I almost forgot his name. I kept wanting to say Drew Plitt, but
granted, I don't think you'll have to worry about. Hopefully, you won't have to worry about Will Grier, but in the event that Will Grier needed to start, goodness gracious, in the event that he needed to start, I don't think you guys would have as big of issues as like a Trevor Siemian. Nothing against Siemian, but he definitely did not look good in the preseason.
Siemian, yeah, he looked like he didn't want to play football. Another really, and I know this isn't even on our roster, so you're probably you might have something, you might not have something, but if you looked at the New England Patriots quarterback situation, they cut both Bailey Zappi and Malik Cunningham. Yeah. Mac Jones is the only quarterback currently on the active roster, to my knowledge, unless they've signed someone and I just didn't see it.
I haven't seen anything.
But then they signed both Bailey Zappi and Malik Cunningham. Malik Cunningham was a undrafted free agent who played in the preseason, played quarterback, played wide receiver, was very, very fun player to watch. They signed them both to the practice squad. I wanted Bailey Zappi to get a chance to start over Mac Jones. That's clearly not happening. And I checked the Patriots depth chart right here. The Patriots have signed Matt Corral, or that old Panthers quarterback from 2022.
Which is interesting, though, because not that guy is bad or anything, but he hasn't really shown a lot,
He got hurt.
Yeah, he hasn't really shown a whole lot with that injury and stuff. So it really makes you wonder, because we saw what Bailey Zappi could do. So it makes you really question like what the Patriots are doing. But maybe let Belichick cook. I don't know, but definitely interesting that they put Zappi on the practice squad. They should have.
I have a theory. I have a theory with Bailey Zappi.
Well, okay. What's your theory with?
I've got a theory. I think that half of the team wanted Bailey Zappi to start. And I believe this happened last year when Bailey was starting after Matt got injured, and there was the whole, like, is this the repeat of the Tom Brady era? With how they thought Drew Bledsoe was their franchise guy. Drew Bledsoe got hurt. Tom Brady comes in and wins. Same thing here. Mac Jones gets hurt. I think it was the similar or the same injury as what Bledsoe had. And then Bailey Zappi comes in, plays well, plays decent, maybe a little worse than Mac Jones, but not significantly worse. And very likable player, Bailey Zappi. And I think there was some division on the team. And they were like, half of them said, we want Mac. The other half said, we want Bailey. And so Belichick came in and he said, hey, Bailey, we're going to take care of you, but I got to take you off this depth chart here because it's causing some problems. Cut him, moved him down to the practice squad. That's my theory.
And the problem that I have, though, with moving him to the practice squad is any team could pick him up. Like any team can sign players off those practice squads. So, yeah, you can have him down there, but next thing you know, like a team over, I don't know, we'll just say in the South, let's say like Baker Mayfield and all those quarterbacks down in Tampa Bay get hurt or something. I don't want that to happen, but let's say it does happen. They might go and pick up Bailey Zappi or something like that, and he's on the practice squad. And then bye Patriots, no longer the Zappi Nation.
But you know what them Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans are going to be saying if that happens?
Huh?
He's the next Tom Brady.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You know what? That makes sense. I mean, you know what? I was just happen to think that way. So
he's fulfilling the prophecy.
Hey, I mean, listen, I think Zappi has all the potential in the world to be good, but right now he is not given a chance. And I think a team really and I know how high you were on him. I think last season.
I liked Zappy.
I think he could be a really solid addition in the depth chart for a lot of different teams that might need like a very solid backup. And who knows, maybe Zappy will be that guy for a team someday. I mean, just like our boy over in Cleveland, I think he's going to end up starting over Deshaun
DTR,
Watson.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson. But there was like a 3-hour window, a very short window, where between Bailey getting cut, Will Grier being signed to the Bengals, and then Bailey being signed to the practice squad, that I was like, Cincy, you should bring this boy over. Come on. He's still on a rookie contract. I mean, come on. I want to see it. We weren't wrong about Dorian Thompson-Robinson. People hated us for that. Browns fans said we were crazy, and guess who the backup in Cleveland is? Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And now the legendary Joshua Dobbs, who was a former Brown, is now starting for the Arizona Cardinals for some reason, starting week 1. But Arizona is kind of in their own little world right now. I don't really know what's going on in Arizona. We've talked about it, but I definitely think it's interesting over there. But Cleveland, there's a lot of interesting teams in the NFL.
Watch Joe's video. Watch my interview with Joe. He nailed it. We've been taking a lot of wins lately on this podcast. I don't want to brag, but we got Dorian Thompson-Robinson right. I was 1 round off of what the Trey Lance trade looked like. I said I wouldn't give more than a 5th. I think the Cowboys traded a 4th for him.
I think you're right.
And so that happened. He's a backup quarterback, like I said he would be, with a team that needs a strong backup if their quarterback goes in. Cowboys are making a playoff run in the NFC with a weak conference. That happened. And now maybe we'll see something else happening here. Maybe.
I don't know.
We'll
see.
I'm just saying, we've been right a lot. We've been good. Let's keep it up. Now, another big reach. This is a huge reach. I recognize that this is a reach.
Okay.
I'm taking some hopium here.
Hopium. Okay, that's a new one. Is that a drug?
No. I'm high on life here.
Okay, cool.
Because I had to work on Labor Day. So I made up a new holiday, which I'm not going to take all the credit for this, but other people on Bengals Twitter also are acknowledging it. It's not really that creative, if I'm being honest. Today's September 5th. You know what the numbers are for September 5th? 9-5. Guess who numbers are 9 and 5? Joseph Lee Burrow and I don't know his middle name, Higgins.
P.T. Higgins.
I think they're getting extended today. One of them is getting extended today. I'm sure of it.
You really think so?
Mm-hmm. I have two reasons for thinking this. One of them is it's 9-5. The other one is Elizabeth Blackburn, who is big with the Bengals, like social media, like news stuff. I forget her actual title, but Bengals fans love her. She is appearing on Bengals Superfan, Bengal Jim podcast tonight. And he was tipped about the Logan Wilson extension a few weeks ago. And what did Bengal Jim tweet out? What do you think Bengal Jim tweeted out? He said, Elizabeth Blackburn will be joining us on the podcast. And then he added below it, today would be a good day for a Joe Burrow extension. Now, could he just be trying to get people to listen to the podcast?
Probably.
Yes. However, the same people that are listening to that podcast, we're already going to listen, regardless of there being a Joe Burrow signing or not. Maybe he gets 100 more listeners, but he's already got a huge podcast. So I don't think that's it. I think there might be something coming up here, and I think we should be paying attention tonight. There's also rumors that Mr. Burrow, along with Nick Bosa, Chris Jones, and Justin Jefferson, already have contracts on the table, per Diana Ruzzini of ESPN, I believe is the network she works for. So that's a third thing. We've got facts, and Joe Burrow is going to get re-signed today.
Well, before we jump to that, I mean, Would you even have like, excuse me, do you even have like a brief assumption that maybe they're holding off until they figure out what the heck's going on with his injury right now? Because doesn't he have like a calf injury?
He's going to play week 1. I mean, they're saying he's day to day right now. That is to throw off the Browns.
And so is Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's day to day.
Yeah,
but he's also not expected to play week 1.
Burrow's fine. Burrow's been practicing.
I'm not saying that maybe they're just like, I'm not saying anything. I mean, it's a great possibility that they could get signed today, but don't get your hopes up.
Oh, my hopes are up.
Well, you know, if they don't get signed today, expect a crash if you get really upset.
No, so my hopes are way up here.
Okay. Well, I'm hopeful for you. But
Joe Burrow. I mean, okay, so I've seen this on Twitter a few times, and I understand partially kind of why people think this way if you haven't been paying attention. I didn't see it on Twitter. I saw it on X. We're going to start using the real name here. It's X.
Yes, X. It's not Twitter.
Anyway, I saw it, and I saw a bunch of fans of other teams are saying, Mike Brown doesn't pay his players, he's not going to pay. Well, guess what? He's been paying players. This is the new Cincinnati Bengals. And you know who is the biggest Cincinnati Bengal? Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is the most marketable player the Cincinnati Bengals have ever had. Chad Ochocinco is the only one I can think of that's anywhere close. Then, after that, not even inside the team, but Cincinnati itself, I don't think it is unreasonable to say that Joe Burrow is the best thing to ever happen to the city of Cincinnati. The mayor has gotten in on rooting for Joe Burrow. There's entire bars who are restaurants. They're doing stuff around Joe Burrow. You know, at certain bars in Cincinnati right now, you can buy a 9-cent shot women can buy a 9-cent shot to help ease the pain of the fact that Joe Burrow has gotten engaged.
Yeah, I heard about that. I think
the entire market, Cincinnati economy, is based on Joe Burrow.
Okay, but like, all right, hear me out though. This is not going to happen, but I just think it'd be funny. Hypothetical, okay? Just a crazy hypothetical. What if at the end of 9/5 today, okay, just randomly at like 11 o'clock tonight, you get a report on ESPN that says a blockbuster trade. Joe Burrow and T. Higgins traded to the Buffalo Bills in exchange for Josh Allen and like Gabe Davis or like Stephon Diggs. How would you feel about that?
I think that'd be stupid. Because both teams have built their entire like market and franchise around both of those sets of players.
Yeah, but let's say Cincinnati and Buffalo is just they're just both like screw it, you know. Joey B, you know, he lost in the AFC Championship. You know, Buffalo, Josh Allen can't make it past the divisional anymore. Let's send him over to Cincinnati and see what he can do.
First of all, I don't think Buffalo would do that. Second of all, why would Cincinnati do that? Why would Cincinnati trade 2 younger players
for some older guys?
For older guys who have shown less success.
Oh, you're fibbing. You're fibbing.
How? Joe Burrow's made it to a Super Bowl. Josh Allen hasn't.
Okay. All I'm saying is that what would you do if it were to happen?
I don't think I'd have to do anything. I think that the city of Cincinnati would cease to exist because the riots would just make it no more. I know the city of Buffalo would cease to exist because Bills Mafia would be going out and they'd be going wild.
Yeah, Highmark Stadium would probably implode before they even have the new stadium built, but
so I'm pretty confident that's not going to happen.
Oh, it's not going to. I just
almost as confident as I am that there's going to be an extension tonight.
Okay, well you shouldn't. Okay.
And I am fully prepared to eat my words.
Yeah, because if you're fully confident that that's not going to happen, as fully confident as you are that Burrow's going to get signed tonight, and he doesn't get signed tonight, that means that like that's just. It's a very contrary. That means that Josh Allen could go to Cincinnati then.
Yeah, but I don't think that'll happen either.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we're ever going to see a trade like that. But I just think it would be funny.
What about these other guys that I mentioned earlier? Justin Jefferson, Nick Bosa, and Chris Jones, all-star players for their teams.
Do you think that like? Oh, are you asking me if I think that they're going to get signed tonight?
Not tonight, but do you think they'll get signed soon? Chris Jones is sitting out, and he plays for the Chiefs.
See, if Chris Jones is sitting out and he's still sitting out, I mean, I haven't really been keeping up too much about what the Chiefs are like, how that's been going. I know that he's been sitting out. If the contract's not good, I think he might not take it because I feel like Chris Jones is being a little stubborn, especially with sitting out. Bosa, I feel like will. Justin Jefferson, I feel like also could this week. I feel like both of them could this week, but I think Jones might be a little longer. Now, granted, I don't know. I think one of those three are going to get signed this week. I don't know which one, but I'm pretty confident that one of them will, and I think it's going to be either JJ or Nick Bosa. So, but I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, Justin Jefferson might get frustrated with the idea of Jordan Addison, being wide receiver 2. I don't know, because remember, Justin Jefferson is the man in Minnesota, and now he's got a little bit more competition if Jordan Addison ends up being a dog in Minnesota. You just don't really know. And obviously Nick Bosa is getting a little older. Maybe he wants to leave San Fran. I doubt it, but
yeah, Nick Bosa's not that old. He's a 2019 rookie. He's still younger than your boy TJ.
Yes, but still, maybe he's getting older in the sense that he doesn't want to stay.
He's got some gas in the tank.
Oh. Well, he also plays for the Chicago Bears on my Madden game.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. I signed him to the Chicago Bears, and we still suck. So I don't think there's anything helping the Chicago Bears.
Nick Bosa cannot save the Chicago Bears. You heard it here first.
I don't know if I can save the Chicago Bears. I thought I could, but I can't. So I'll keep you guys posted on how well my Madden, whatever it is.
Who's your quarterback?
I'm currently running still with Justin Fields because he was an 80 overall star. Ooh. But over the time, I feel like there's a missing piece, and I don't know what it is. Because our wide receivers are all 90 overalls. So it's not like these wide receivers are bad. So it makes me wonder, I'm like, what is the problem here? And then I look at Justin Fields' numbers, and he has 38 touchdowns and 13 interceptions on the season, but we still finished 4-13. It's like, where is this happening? So I don't know if it is Justin Fields or if, maybe the defense is having issues or something else, but Bosa's on the defense. So my Madden is struggling right now, but it's almost impossible to build the Chicago Bears. And I feel like taking up that challenge first is probably not the best idea. I probably should have tried to rebuild the Chiefs or something when there is really no rebuilding to do for the Chiefs. But here nor there, off topic.
Well, actually, that was a nice segue. Kansas City Chiefs, Detroit Lions, they play this Thursday. It's a beautiful time of year. The fall, fall smells, the leaves change. And I saw a beautiful thing on one of the Barstool podcasts. And I believe it was Big Cat who was on there. And he was talking, you only have so many football games in your life to watch. So enjoy all of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's very philosophical and very deep and true. And I'm going to enjoy this football game. That being said, let's a lot of people, I think, are looking at this matchup and they're saying the Chiefs versus the Lions, that's our opener. That's what we're starting with, first regular season game. And they think it's going to be a blowout.
Bro, I don't think so.
I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I think this is going to be a fun game.
I think it will be too. I'm predicting like a 28-24 final.
Okay.
I know Jonathan. It's going to be a fun one, but go ahead.
Jonathan's really excited to watch this game. I was talking to him last night on the phone. It's going to be his first regular season NFL game as a Lions fan. He's excited. He's playing fantasy football. He's texted me some teams. He's asked for some advice. He's excited. Got Jared Goff coming out there, Patrick Mahomes, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god, Isaiah Pacheco, who everyone forgets about. But
no,
you know
Isaiah
what?
Pacheco, he's definitely a guy to watch out for on that Kansas City offense. I'm going to tell you what.
Dude, Isaiah, I drafted him in fantasy, and I was getting him so deep in leagues. I feel like people just forgot about him. But he didn't even start every game last year, and he still almost had 1,000 yards. He had 830 yards last season as a rookie. I easily expect, barring injury, Isaiah Pacheco to cross the 1,000-yard mark this season.
And in my opinion, I would not count out Detroit in this game. I mean, that's why I said 28-24 final. And that score could be universal. It could be 28 Lions, 24 Chiefs. It could be 28 Chiefs, 24 Lions. It could be the Lions have the lead and then the Chiefs just have to run in and get a last second touchdown. 21-21. Detroit scores that field goal and then it's 24-21 and Kansas City scores that like late minute touchdown in the fourth quarter. I think it is going to be a very fun game to watch. Now, I could be wrong, but the Detroit showed me a lot of promise last season. And as they continue to develop, could be really good for them this year. I feel like you shouldn't sleep on them. There's some teams in the NFL that I feel like are very overrated this year, but I think Detroit is a little underrated. I think some people are putting them at like 8-9, 7-10. I think they're going to have a winning record this year. I think, a little higher than 9-8, maybe even 10-7. I mean, I think they can cook this year. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown, that team has made some additions that easily could help that team. I mean, there's a lot to be said, and the Chiefs have lost some receivers. They're going off of how well they were last year. Obviously, you can't go wrong with Patrick Mahomes. I feel like Patrick Mahomes will make any player look good, but also, is it Patrick Mahomes making these players look good, or is it these players that are brought in by Kansas City just automatically just easily developed in Kansas City? Like, they're just so much easier to develop, and they just have like the way of developing players, which could be a possibility. But I think it's going to be a fun game. I would not sleep on it. I don't think it's going to be no 31-14 final here. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a 28-24 or something like that.
This is another one. I might be reaching a bit here because I know that Patrick Mahomes card is out there. I'm going to take the Lions. I think the Lions can win this game. I think Dan Campbell's going to give the best pregame speech of all time. That's going to be legendary. We're going to be listening to it 20 years from now. He's going to be talking about eating kneecaps and such. We're going to have Jared Goff come out, which a lot of people forget about him. They still remember that Super Bowl. They still remember Rams Jared Goff. Lions Jared Goff is a different animal. Last year, who had the best touchdown to interception ratio in the NFL? Jared Goff. We've got Sun God, like we talked about. But they also have a rookie running back who I wanted the Bengals to get a hold of, Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama, who the OC has come out and said, we're going to use him in a way that a lot of people don't expect. Now, does that mean they're going to use him as a center like the Cowboys tried with Zeke Elliott in Dallas there for a play? I don't think so.
I don't think but I don't even think that should be an option.
I'm not even really sure what the whole might be someone we don't expect, some way that you won't expect comment means, but I'm excited to figure out what it means because I was very high on Jahmyr Gibbs coming into this NFL draft. They've got CJ Gardner-Johnson, who I don't know if he's starting. I know he had some injury issues with practice, but they signed him this season. He is very high on this defense, though. And the defense was really the Lions' biggest issue last season. And CJ Gardner-Johnson has come in, and he has called this a young legion of boom, which was the Seahawks defense there in the late 2000s when they were winning Super Bowls with Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas. CJ Gardner-Johnson thinks that they are comparable, and I'm excited to see what we got. We got Aiden Hutchinson on defense. We've got some studs. Studs over there,
and they got some depth over in Detroit now too. David Montgomery is also in that running back room now over in Detroit too. So and I think David Montgomery, for playing for the team that he had to play with in Chicago, which was in a rebuilding phase, I still thought David Montgomery did good, pending being healthy, obviously. But I wouldn't sleep on Detroit. I think they have all the key pieces to being a very decent team this year. I mean, I don't think they're going to be like no 15-2 team or whatever, but I definitely think they're going to be good.
And another two very important things with the Chiefs. Travis Kelce might not play. Chris
Very
Jones is probably not going to play. Travis Kelce, it is being reported as of like 30 minutes ago that he hyperextended his knee in practice and might not be able to play Thursday night. Chris Jones is still sitting out, and honestly, yeah, that offense for the Chiefs is fantastic. It's got Patrick Mahomes. It's got Isaiah Pacheco. It doesn't have Travis Kelce right now, though, and he's a big part of that. Defense wise, I don't know if these guys can necessarily hold up. They're not, don't get me wrong, they're not washed or bad players. They're not a bad defense at all. But I think this Detroit Lions offense that was at one point last year the highest scoring offense in the NFL and was only losing games because their defense was the worst defense in the NFL. I think they could do some damage.
It is.
I'm taking the Lions. I'm
gonna take some Lions too. I'm gonna take them Lions too, because I was just looking at the Chiefs depth chart, and I don't think that any of their players are bad, but it's definitely going to be a more of a development year. I feel like with what they're. I think Kansas City's going to be good, but I feel like some people are just going off of that high and of that Super Bowl win this past year, but it's technically still this year. It happened, but I don't know. I still think that I think Kansas City's going to lose week 1. I think they're going to lose on Thursday. I think Detroit's going to stun them. I think they are. Kansas City coming off that huge Super Bowl win, and I think they're going to get stunned. But, I mean, Kansas City, it looks like if Travis Kelce doesn't play, Noah Gray for the Kansas City Chiefs will be starting at tight end. Now, I don't know much about Noah Gray, but all I know is that he is the backup tight end, 2020 draft, round 5, pick 162 so far this season, meaning I guess preseason. He's had 2 receptions for 23 yards, and don't see my 2022 standings just yet, or my 2022 stats. But nonetheless,
he was a 5th round pick in the 2021 NFL draft. So
yes, so he's still young, but
I mean, listen to this list of people who, and granted, it is Patrick Mahomes. I understand that. He can make anyone look good. But he's got Kadarius Toney, who is coming off of injury, Sky Moore, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Noah Gray, and Jerick McKinnon as his top pass catchers coming into this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to feel about it.
I really think I really think that if there was like the ideal situation for the Lions to come out and show people they're serious about being a football team this year, this is it. Which I know the Lions wide receivers aren't super special besides Amon-Ra. I mean, they got Josh Reynolds, they've got Marvin Jones Jr., nothing super insane. I really believe in these guys. I think we're going to see something that a lot of people aren't expecting.
I mean, I'm not like super impressed with like Kansas City's wide receivers either. I mean, they're good, but I mean, their best, like, I don't know who's their wide receiver 1 going to be. Is it going to be Valdez-Scantling? Like, I mean, because Valdez-Scantling was certified wide receiver 3 most of his career. So, and then you have like Sky Moore, who's young, and who's the other one? Is it
Kadarius Toney, who used to be with the Giants.
Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't really. I mean, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, it'll be really Patrick Mahomes making these players look good. I mean, there's really nothing that's like, oh my goodness gracious, like they have one big stud. I mean, I feel like all their wide receivers. It was the same thing with last year. I mean, somehow they won the Super Bowl, but like with like Juju Smith-Schuster, I'm like, okay. I mean, yeah, he was wide receiver 1 for the Steelers, but like, he's older now. Is he still capable of, producing? And obviously he got hurt and different things like that. But it does make you wonder because like Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's like, he does have injuries, but I mean, whenever you think of the Lions like wide receiver core, you immediately think of, Amon-Ra. I mean, I feel like that goes for a lot of teams. I mean, like when you first, I mean, granted, Cincinnati's very lucky. They have multiple wide receivers, but I feel like first wide receiver you think of in Cincinnati is Jamar
Andre Losivas.
No. Jamar Chase. It's like, no. But like Steelers, they think of George Pickens. I mean, granted, Deontay Johnson has been wide receiver 1 last year, but a lot of people think of George Pickens. Baltimore, I guess, would be what? Odell Beckham, I guess. I don't know.
Mark Andrews.
Well, I guess he's not allowed to receive.
Who's a tight end?
Yeah, I guess it would be Mark Andrews, but nonetheless, like, I mean, Kansas City doesn't have like that notable guy on as like a wide receiver. The only one that like really has stood out because I know who he is like, I mean, I know Kadarius Toney, I know those guys, but like the only one that I've seen consistently over the years is Valdez Scantling. But he always averaged around 8 points a game.
Yeah, definitely a very interesting situation. I think defense is going to be the key to this game.
Yeah,
I think when we see who the winner is, we're either going to say Patrick Mahomes was able to figure out the Lions' defense, or the Lions' defense was able to stop Patrick Mahomes. That's going to be, and both would be very impressive, I think, in my opinion.
And I will be definitely watching the game on Thursday. I've got 3 players playing in our league that me and Josh are in with 15 people. I have 3 players playing in that game. I have Patrick Mahomes himself, David Montgomery, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So
that's a rough league.
It is a very hard league. So in fairness to anybody listening, this is a very, very deep league. It's got 15 teams in it, and my bench literally consists of players that I'm hoping will maybe produce. I mean, my backup quarterback is literally freaking Jordan Love. So like, it is a very deep league. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I've had my fair share of like 14s, and I have a 14 team league that I have Isaiah Pacheco in, and then I have another one where I have Patrick Mahomes once again in, and then I haven't drafted in this other league yet, which I guess the draft would be tonight. I don't know if he changed it again. He's been changing it constantly. So I guess he did get, it's going to be 8 teams. So I've progressively gotten lower. So, but nonetheless, I will definitely be watching the game on Thursday, pending any interferences with anything on Thursday.
I have to work for half of it, but I will be listening to it. I will be listening to the radio broadcast.
Hey, that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
With all of that said, thank you for listening to today's show. If you enjoyed, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. We can be found anywhere you listen to podcasts and on YouTube at No But Show. If you are only listening to us on Spotify, make sure to check out the YouTube, because sometimes we post stuff on there that we don't post on Spotify. Like I did an interview with Joe Burrow of the Cardinal Rule, where we talked about what was going on with the Cardinals. Are they benching Kyler Murray? Are they tanking for Caleb Williams? Find out. He was right about a lot of stuff that happened with the Cardinals too. So check that out. Our social media pages are NoButts_show on Instagram and NoButtsShow on TikTok. My Twitter is Josh_Butts_2001. And if you would like to reach us, you can email us at bullmoosepodcast2. That's the number 2 at gmail.com. Finally, our spread shop will be in the description, so check out the merch. Once again, if you enjoyed today's show, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, go do something nice for someone. And I promise Joe Burrow will be extended by the next episode. We're not doing another episode until he's extended.
Oh, really?
True.
Oh, yeah, really? Wow, we're going to